Let's take a look really quickly at part 4. Oh, 4. And I think I want to try this. I think that converting it back to a string is what's taking long. I think what we can do is say, convert it to the digest, and we can say if digest of 0, right, we're looking at the first byte is 0. Oh, we can say if it's not 0, or digest of 1 is not equal to 0, then continue. And then fix that typo. So here's what I'm thinking is the digest itself, let's take a look at that. I was looking at this earlier. The digest itself is just an array of U8s. So we can look at each individual byte of the digest and implement a deref for it and a deref mute for it. So we can just access the digest directly like that with the square brackets and see what's in there. And the digest will be, we're looking for individual half bytes, the nibbles, right? So this represents 2 nibbles here. This represents 2 nibbles, right? Because each one of these is a byte. And we're looking for a format that looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then ABC or something like that, right? So these 2 are in digest of 0, and then these 2 are in digest of 1. And then, so if either one of those is not 0, then we want to keep looking. And then we just want to check this last one. And if we're doing a part 1, we're looking for 5, right? So we only care about this nibble. And if we're looking at part 2, then we care about the whole byte. So I'm going to do an enum part, check part 1, check part 2. And that way I can pass that in here. Rather than putting in a prefix, I can just say, we can say check part. And then we can just here, if check is equal to check part 1, then we're going to look just at digest of 2 and OXF0, right? So we're only looking at that upper nibble. If that's equal to 0, then we found it. Actually, we can do it this way here and just say continue, right? I guess this might be cleaner, right? And then we can say if check equals part, check part 2, and then we look at the whole byte. Digest of 2 is equal to 0. Not equal to 0. Continue. And then otherwise we return that thing. Oh. Yeah, we have to increment lowest. So let's do that up there and then start lowest at 0. All right? Yeah, because that way we check 1 first and then keep going. Okay. So this might hopefully speed things up. And then if all these checks pass, then we just output the output of whatever we were just checking. And that didn't work because, I didn't derive partial EQ on that. Was this, so this is part, check part 1. And then this becomes check part 2. I added semicolons there and I shouldn't have. Okay, so now let's see how long this takes. So it was 140 and 422. Let's see if this speeds anything up. I think it should, because we don't have to convert the entire string and then do a string comparison. That's significantly faster, yes. So it went from 140 milliseconds to 44 milliseconds, and 4 seconds 122 to 1 second 227. It's not great, but it's livable, right? Because now I can, let's take a look at it in debug mode. If I run it from here, this is going to run it in debug mode. It's slow, but it's still very, very slow. Dang. I wonder if I can just skip this. Wow, 13 seconds in debug mode. That's terrible. I wonder if I can skip it in release mode. Let's go to mod, and then what I can do is say if, is there a way you can check to see if you are in Rust conditional compilation release mode? Conditional compilation for debug release. Oh, I don't think you can do that. Debug assertions. Okay, let's try that. If CFG not debug assertions. Is that going to work? And then just put this in a block. Oh, right. Well, I mean, it took it. Let's put that there and put that there. Okay. And now if I run, yeah, okay, now it skips day 4. Okay. That's one way to do it. But now if, looking here. But if I cargo run release, yeah, now it shows day 4. Okay. That's a little awkward, but it gets the job done. Git status, git add commit -am speed up part or day 4 a bit. Day 6 is still kind of slow, but all right. So we did a few things. The other thing I want to do now is mod. Be able to select which days to run, which I think is going to require a bunch of refactoring because, so each one of these implements runner. And then it has a new function which will read the input and parse the input for some of them. The fact that it's a reference maybe means we won't need the box, right? Let's try this. Yeah, okay, so mutedin runner doesn't compile. And if I did this, expected expression also. Oh. I got this. This should be a colon. And runner is not found because I imported it. Use create runner. There we go. Okay, so that works. And now I have a mutable reference to each. I can create a mutable reference to each one. Thank you, TFZ. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I forgot the commas. Oh. Because these are all references, right? And if I say for D in days, D becomes, D becomes a reference to a runner trait, which means it should have a size. because it's a reference, right? And if I say create run solution D, we don't know the size at that point. Oh, okay. So maybe I can do it here, right? Saying, oh, this doesn't have to be sized. Why should we make it sized? We can just say plus this. Well, that. Oh, it creates a temporary which is freed while still in use. Really? Isn't this creating an array that's still used? Consider using a let binding to create a longer lived value. I mean, I could, right? Because that's what I did here. If I do that, and then I could put day 01. That's annoying. Epic Blog says, are you able to use Rust at work? I am, but the code I work on is not, it's a C source base. So I can write, utilities in Rust and things like that. But I can't push those to the code base I'm running. I can just have it as like utilities. So let's do this. There's 5, 6. Oops, 6. There we go. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, and 6. Put this on 4. Let me do this. All right, that builds. It's a little awkward, but I mean, it does the trick. So we're creating these objects so they're living longer than this array. Let's get rid of the underscore on days. And then see if we can run this. It still runs. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. All right. So I guess the next thing we can do is just say, specify which days we want to run, like a single day or all of them. And for that, we can just create a little enum here. Pub enum selector, which will have all or one usize. And then we can pass in here which ones we want to run. And for now, selector all. And then this gets a selector. Great. Oh, let's say use create selector, which selector. Spell it right and put an underscore to see if that builds, and it does. Then we create the array, and then we can say match which selector all. We do that. Otherwise, I call it 1 num, and then we're going to just say it's, I guess, 0 based. So we can just say create run solution. Oh yeah, if we do this, that's going to mess everything up, isn't it? All right, we'll get rid of that and just live with it. Run solution, and then we'll just say number, right? Days of num -1. Oh, selector. am I doing wrong here? Like that? Expected expression. That's what I'm putting in here as an expression. The trait runner is not implemented for mute din runner. Well, what is this then? Okay, let d equals days of num minus 1. Okay, mute din runner, and then d. Oh, I don't want to move it, and if I do that, it's going to say size is unknown. And now we're moving it. I don't want to move it. Wow, okay. I can't do that. Oh, changing to immutable reference. Oh, I have to put the mute here. Oh. But it doesn't like that. Wow, okay, that's awkward. Day 4. Oh. Okay. Cargo run release. And now I want to be able to grab the argument from the command line. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. In main, I want to say, what's the standard end of args, right? Let args equals standard end args, like that. And then I just want to look at the first args. Collect string. Oh, no, collect a vector string. What is that creating then? That was weird. Why did it let me do that? Okay, so here's args. So if args.len, oh, if not args is empty, then we're going to look at the first argument. Let num day is equal to args of 0 dot parse usize unwrap. If it fails, it fails. That's fine. And then we'll say run 2015. We're going to eventually add a year to the command line as well. Selector 1 day. Else it is empty, therefore we'll run the whole shebang like that. Okay, so if I say cargo run release 6, it panicked because invalid digit. What is it? Let's print out what args is. It should be a vec of strings, right? Oh, 0 is the, I forgot, 0 is the name of the program. So it should be 1. Okay. We can get rid of that. So now I should be able to just run day 6 this way. Yeah. And I can run day 7. So when we get to day 7, we can just do day 7. Epic Blarg says, this is the warm-up for 2022 AOC, right? Sort of. What I'm trying to do is trying to create a general purpose library for AOC. And we have the ability, currently we have a few things. We have the ability to read a file and convert it into just a vector of characters. We have the ability to parse numbers out of a file. with with the separator between the numbers. We also have something that will read the lines and filter out empty lines. And then we have this point thing, which just has the point structure plus a little parser for it. So you could parse a comma-separated pair of numbers and create points. And then hopefully that'll make the solving these problems a little bit faster. And then as I go along, I'll hopefully also see commonalities between the different puzzles and try to make a generic function that'll help me in the future, and then refactor the older solutions to use them.